The top story at this hour, and that's from the Mallya mess. The Supreme Court seems to have lost patience with Vijay Mallya today. The apex court directed beleaguered liquor baron Vijay Mallya to disclose all the assets that he owns by him and his estranged wife and children to the banks. In fact, Mallya had submitted the details of the overseas assets held by him and his estranged wife and children in a sealed cover to the court. Meanwhile, Vijay Mallya's lawyers have given the Supreme Court clarity over his plans to return to India. They say he will not, adding that his return in the current circumstances is meaningless. Ashmit Kumar joins in now with the details. Ashmit, many angles to what transpired in the court today. How does the case seem to be headed now?
Well, for now, at this point, it's quite clear that all sides are turning on the heat as far as Vijay Mallya is concerned on all various fronts, on the asset space, on the recovery, on disclosures, as well as his return to India. I'll take you through them step by step. There are four essential things to look at. First up, the Supreme Court order. Now, this is, as well has two parts. The first part on the issue of disclosure. Now, Vijay Mallya, as we understand, had in fact submitted a list of his assets, but he'd drawn a distinction between domestic assets as well as overseas assets. His reasoning essentially was that the banks had extended to him the loan based on his Indian assets, and hence the overseas assets were above and beyond the control and the entitlement that the banks currently are claiming. That argument has been shot down by the apex court. The apex court has directed for all assets of Vijay Mallya, his wife, as well as his children in India, as well as overseas, to be disclosed to the banks. Now, that was the key prayer that the bankers were seeking. Towards that end, the apex court has reasoned that for any negotiated settlement between the parties, for an amicable solution, the banks must be made aware of the assets over which Mallya exercises control to get a sense of his paying capacity. So that's part one. The second issue is with respect to the matter being remanded back to the DRT. Now, mind you, DRT was the first forum that the bankers moved for recovery proceedings. The apex court has issued very clear directions for this case, for Mallya mess matter, to be heard on an expeditious basis, for the hearings to be expedited, and has served the DRT with a 2-month deadline to finish hearing in this matter. That's the second takeaway. The third part, and an equally key question, on when is Vijay Mallya expected to come back. On that question, Vijay Mallya's counsels were quite non-committal. They argued that they believe that the current context is hostile. It would be meaningless for Vijay Mallya to return. Vijay Mallya's counsels also argued that it appears from the conduct of the banks that they are more keen on sending him behind jail rather than actually the recovery of funds, and that he believes that the minute he lands in India, he will be shipped off to Tihar jail. That's, of course, Vijay Mallya's position, being very non-committal with respect to when he's likely to return, which brings us to the Attorney General's position. This position was made quite strongly. In fact, the Attorney General arguing that Vijay Mallya is playing a game of hide and seek, that at this point he's a fugitive from justice, strong words being used, and at this point, the Attorney General also submitting before the apex court that if required, necessary action will be taken. The UK government will be moved to take action, to take redressal action against Vijay Mallya. So some strong words coming in from the Attorney General, but what's quite clear is that heat being turned on Vijay Mallya from all sides. Back to you.